of them. You're wasting all your time and money on models. Paint what you have.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Model Club TV, episode 115. As always, Scott Johansson, my most lovely co-host. And I'm Jason Walker. Kind of here. How are you, Scott? How's things?
Ooh, I'm fine, thanks.
I introduced Scott to the gagging video, guys, and it's all he's been watching.
Oh my, I think I've seen everyone now.
Okay. I'm glad that helps everyone.
And they're a mess.
And if anyone was just eating when Scott made that noise, I apologize. Scott had an ice incident before coming on.
Mm-hmm. It's all better now.
All better now. It was a waterfall of ice.
It's a glacier eruption in my refrigerator.
Awesome. How's everything else? What's new? What's going on? How's your life? How's life since the last episode? Oh, for this episode, we have joining us George Celitus, talk about contest at Wonderfest, the amazing model contest over there at Wonderfest. Some new rules, things going on, new entry.
Changes. Some changes.
Some good changes. So talk about that. And we also have Dan Garden on talking about what he's going to have at Wonderfest. So two quick little interviews. This episode will be probably around the normal time, but our part will probably be a lot smaller, I think. So that probably makes a lot of people happy. But
and then we only have 2 more episodes until Wonderfest.
Yeah, after this one.
So anybody that's out there that wants to come on and talk about what they're going to have for Wonderfest, you really have like 1 more episode. So
yes,
get off your ass and get a hold
one
of us.
Other thing, Joe Heil, wonderful guest we had on, Joe Heil, amazing modeler, has sent me 4 really large boxes of kits to give away that he was going to sell, but he decided to donate them to us to give away. I have not gone through those boxes yet. I think we're going to hold them for our live show for you and I, the show after Wonderfest, and do some giveaways on the live show. So I'm going to maybe hold them for that and we'll go from there. But thank you, Joe Heil. Awesome. We love you, sir. What else going on, Scott? Anything? Any medical stories? Any incidents? Any
incident?
Have I had any incidents? No.
I don't think so.
No.
No, I'm having some problems with my FTM printer, but
yes. I know people love when we talk about printing on this show.
Yeah,
2 of my printers have died. Let's talk about our Wonderfest coming up. We will have very little at the table, I think, this year. Because of things we're doing for other people for Wonderfest. And I'm planning on having a couple things. I'll show them here in news and reviews. I'll have a couple things, but not many. And Scott, I think, may be the same. So
I may not have hardly anything. I will have these.
Like.
I will have the ornaments. Okay. Just so everyone knows, there's going to be a little hole in the back of your ornament. You can either fill it or leave it. It's an ornament. Okay.
Glue some like stuffing, some batting on the
belt
back
or something on there if you want. Yeah, whatever you want.
Make it look like snow or something.
Whatever. Okay. I'm providing this. All right. So
you have a price on the ornaments yet?
I don't. I'm thinking in the $25, $30 range.
But I think that's a great price. So awesome.
So
but yeah, hey, Wonderfest is coming. We're trying to get things ready. I think as of today, if I don't drop anything, I have printed all of the zombies for the amazing figure model painting class, the diorama class they're doing with Mike Park's zombie. So that's coming. So be excited for that if you're joining. If you haven't, get a hold of Terry quickly because I think spots are filling up quick.
I am not going to bring any King Kong product other than maybe the small Kongs. So if there's someone out there that would like one of the busts or the Aurora scale full size, get a hold of me prior to Wonderfest and I'll print one up and bring it for you. But again, I just don't have the time, frankly, the energy to do it. I got a couple of guys wanting to print a couple things and bring them. I'm going to do that. But other than that, I don't know how much time I'll have to print anything. But if there is something you want, get a hold of me quick. Because
is that super secret project going to be that you teased a couple episodes back?
Who knows?
Maybe one, hopefully still. We'll see.
Yeah. I will have the
Prototype.
Well, I hope so. I will have the Mad Labs Tiny Terror Santa as well. I will have that there for sure.
Okay, cool.
So that will be there. I don't know how many I'm going to be able to get made. We got resin downstairs.
And we are also sharing a table with Jamie Sy, so he will have some things at the table too. But he's been going through it as well, so he might have less than usual as well. So we apologize, but hey, that's life sometime. And
we're going to be there.
We kind of just wanted the table in the first place to meet people anyway. And it will maybe free up some time to do some interviews. I'm thinking of setting up the camera. I know Scott said no before, but I think I'm going to override him this year and set up the camera and do a live stream through most of the show and just live stream the table as people walk by, have the camera going and see how it goes. So,
right. So you'll see Jason on the phone going, yeah.
Where's Johansson? Where is he?
Where's Johansson?
All right. Any things you want to make fun of me for before we move on?
A lot of things. But I think the one thing you're going to show will be a nice segue into it. So
okay. All right. First up from Spike. Spike with another Photoshop masterpiece. MCTV number what?
114.
Do you want to read it or do you want me to read it?
You better let me read it.
Okay.
This is one thing I will make fun of you about. Okay. You always blame voice to text. All right.
I've never blamed voice to text. I don't voice to text. I have really bad thumbs. I don't voice to text.
Okay. Bottle Club TV number 114 showed Scott with new hairstyling. At least we thought it was new until this behind the scenes photo surfaced showing Scott as a stand-in for Kurt Russell in the 1994 Stargate movie. Scott had considered joining the military in years gone by. He could perhaps have been Major General Johansson by now. He would, however, appreciate you keeping jokes about him and his privates to yourselves. Thanks, buddy. You know what, though? I wish I looked like that.
Yeah, you do. You look nice and beefy. Hey, you could look like that with a little bit of work.
A lot of work. Well, a little bit of airbrush work, but yeah. I'd be beefy. I'd be a bad
what a disappointment that movie was.
I remember seeing it, but I don't remember much about it. So that pretty much shows. Like it's one of those movies you could say, "Did you see Stargate?" And I could say, "Yeah." And do you remember it? No. But I can tell you the same thing about, and people are going to get mad about this. Okay. I could say the same thing about Blade Runner. I could say the same thing about Fifth Element. Okay. Did I see him? Yeah. Do I remember anything about them? Barely anything. So.
All right. Up next. This came in right as I had finished recording and started putting things in the gallery. Ed Riley sent me this build up, so it was in the gallery, but I wanted to give it a special place in this episode right up front in case people, I don't know how many people make it to the gallery. But here we go. So we have our model kit that sculpted, winner, and he took some liberties, and I really like him. I thought it was very funny. He said, I hope you're not offended. When he sent it to me, I'm like, nope, this is funny as hell. So Ed, absolutely beautiful. I love every second of this. I have a question for Scott, though. Scott, who are you attacking with that sword? Would you like to take a stab at that? Do you know who that is? I'll give you a hint. It's not Frodo.
I see, and I was going to say it's Samwise or whatever the hell.
It's not Samwise.
It's not Bilbo.
It is Bilbo.
Is it Bilbo?
I think that is a figure of Bilbo from the Hobbit movie. I'm almost positive.
Dildo. Whatever.
Oh boy. All right. I had to take it down. So yeah, my math skills are great, and I appreciate the humor there. It's something that always comes up on this show and in my life. And here we go. Go ahead, Scott.
So Jason found a meme. Why don't you tell him about the meme?
I'll have to go and look for the meme, but I don't know if I'll be able to. I probably won't find it in time. There's a meme of a kid crying at a kitchen table and a father screaming. And it was like something like, you haven't really lived life until you've spent your childhood crying at the kitchen table over math homework as your father yells at you. It was something like that. That was my childhood. I cried over math homework every night. Dad yelling at me, why don't you understand this? It's like that George, the Seinfeld episode where Frank Costanza's yelling at George when he's a kid. He's, stop it, Frank, you're killing. Anyway, I'm terrible at math. I've always been terrible at math. And I was telling Scott that if I was born today, I would have had an IEP. I would have had extra help. I would have been in special ed. I would have had special ed math, and things would have went better for me. Plus, I was younger than everyone else in my class. So I was almost a full year behind everyone else, and I just didn't get it.
So I asked Mr. Walker, when did you realize you had a problem?
And I know the moment. But there was things that led up to this moment.
Mm-hmm.
But it was at this moment when everyone in class turned around and looked at me and was like, what is wrong with you?
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to let you tell the story. This was up on the chalkboard?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we had chalk back then.
This was up on the chalkboard.
Yep. You have a shadow over that. So we don't want everyone to get confused. Okay, good. I don't want any of the numbers getting mixed.
Oh, by the way.
Wait, what is that? Make sure it's not something inappropriate.
I'm still getting Bigfoot mail. Okay. Anyway.
Oh, speaking of, wait, real quick. I was at my brother's for Easter and the air guitar championships were on TV. And they were sponsored by Jack Links. And the Sasquatch was a judge.
Oh, God.
Anyway. Go ahead.
All right. So anyway, this was up on the blackboard.
Yeah.
So tell me what happened.
So they're all counting by fives. And I was like, looking around, I'm like, how are they getting 5? I don't understand. But where does 5 come from? It's 4 lines. Where are they getting 5? So as this continued, I asked, and you know, it's hard to be that kid. And being a teacher, this is one thing I always try to remember. It's hard to ask a question sometimes, especially if you don't know what's going on. So I raised my hand and I looked around. I'm like, all right, I don't get it. How are you guys getting 5? And everybody turned around and looked at me like I was like 90 heads. And I was like, the biggest idiot in the world. And my teacher just looked at me, Mr. Hamlin, God rest his soul, probably, just went, like, I've made that face at kids that I know the face. Like, what? Like, he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with the cross out line. And I was like, oh, I didn't get that the line crossing out the 4 counted as the 5th number. I just thought in an art way that he was like, I was looking at it as a picture of you were just drawing and crossing out the 4s that you counted out, and that the 5th line didn't count as a number. It was just, I'm getting rid of these because I counted them already.
So by then in life, you hadn't learned how to count by 5s?
No, I knew how to count by 5s. I didn't know what those represented.
Okay. So I'm looking at that going, so what do you think? Now we're going to switch and count by 4s? 4, 8, 12, 16.
No, but I didn't know
20,
you counted by 5. Like, I didn't know you counted by 5. Like, you count by 2s, you count by 5s. When you count by 2s, you don't cross anything out.
So then I proceeded to ask Mr. Walker if he ever had a job where he had to make change. Okay. And what did you tell me there?
There's a few.
Didn't go well, though, did it?
No, it didn't go well. It never went well. So what was the first job? I never worked the register at the pizza places that I worked at. I was always making the pizza, which was fun. I liked making pizza. Did I ever tell the sweat story? Remind me. We'll come back to that. Oh man, dude. I had to tell this story. I told the Lucy story about the deep dish pizza too. Did I ever tell that?
No.
How I dumped the cheese on the floor. Did I ever tell that story? I probably shouldn't tell that story. Okay. So anyway, pizza making's fun. So I had never worked a register until I worked for my dad, and there was a cash box at our pharmacy at 47th and Cottage Grove. And for people who are from Chicago, 47th and Cottage Grove is not a very nice neighborhood. It is a couple blocks from the now gone Robert Taylor homes. And back then it was not a very safe place. And so people
It ain't a real safe place now.
No,
either.
it still isn't, but it was way worse then. So I would have to count cash to people on there. And so you're just like, if I wrong the wrong person, I'm in big trouble. So I always put it off on the other people. I'm like, here, you count. I can't do it. But when it actually, I managed Hobbytown. I was one of the managers. Like, I don't even know if I was a manager technically, but I closed the store all the time. And I was the only person in there sometimes.
What Hobbytown?
Hobbytown in Bloomington, Illinois.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Worked there for about a year and a half while I was in college in Normal, in Bloomington.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So, but I ordered everything. I had to do, like I was the model guy at the shop, all that kind of stuff. And I had to ring the register. The worst part, I hated closing out the register at the night.
Did you have to close out the register?
Oh,
too?
yeah, I had to close out. Oh,
be
dude,
joy.
it was awful. It was awful. It made no sense to me. I never knew what I was doing, and I screwed it up all the time. I remember taking money out of my wallet and putting it in there to
make your math right.
Yes. Oh man. All right. The real quick one of the pizza stories. We'll do other pizza stories. We could do like pizza.
We could do Jason's pizza story of the
Jason's jobs from growing up. So I worked at this pizza place, my first job ever, that I got fired from on my birthday because they had a schedule that they just wrote names on. And when I went in there on a Monday, my name wasn't on the schedule. So I was like, okay, my birthday I have off. My mom scheduled my party with the family, all that stuff. I get a phone call my birthday. You're supposed to be at work. I'm like, I wasn't on the schedule. They fired me. Anyway, there was this guy, Ron. This was, what was the name of it's gone now. It was in Lansing across the street from the airport. And I don't remember the name of the pizza place, but it's gone. So I worked there in the summer. It was a summer job. And this guy, Ron, worked the ovens. And he was probably, to me, when I was 15, 16 years old, he looked to be in his 40s or 50s, maybe older. Sounded like Harvey Feinstein. Had a real deep voice, like, hey, kids, how's it going? Like one of those kind of things. This dude sweat worse than I do. Okay? It's July. He works the ovens in the pizza place. This guy was constantly just dripping sweat. Every single pizza this guy sent out, he would lean over and cut. And one day I just watched a bead of sweat run down his forehead, get to the tip of his nose, and then just drip into someone's pizza as it went out the door. And I just went, oh no. And then I realized this dude has probably been sweating into every pizza that ever went out that door at that place. And I was just
that's our secret ingredient.
Dude, Ron sweaty pizzas. Oh man. I love the other pizza place I work at. They were terrible too, but it was fun.
Sweat Hogs Pizza.
Oh man, that was bad. I did once. For those of you who worked in a restaurant, have you ever worked in a food service ever?
No, I'm intelligent. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So there's these mats that have there's the rubber mats that go on the floor in the back that have holes. So when things fall, they fall in the holes and you can still kind of get traction. So when you do the cheese, we're way off topic. This is Model Club TV, everyone. So when you get the cheese comes in these 2-pound blocks that you'd have to put in these grinders. So you grind the mozzarella cheese up into these big tubs. Then you put plastic on the tub and you put it in the walk-in cooler. So when you need it, so you have to grind all your cheese in the morning. So I'm carrying this, 50-pound tub of cheese. And some idiot, the handle was broken on it. So I'm trying to carry this. The handle breaks off. The whole tub of cheese flips over and shredded cheese all over the floor. What did I do? I gathered all that cheese back up, put it back in the tub, put it out. But just, it never actually touched the floor because there was so much under it. I was like, forget it. This cheese is going out. So, yeah, I'm bad.
No wonder they fired you.
Well, no, they didn't. I just quit that place. We used to put this girl that we worked with, God, Shannon, if you're watching, we used to put her in the garbage can and spray her with the dishwashing hose. Oh, it was fun.
Yeah. You'd all be sued by right
This
now.
was directly across. Remember, the in Lansing, Torrance Avenue. There was a comedy club. There was the Hook place. It was right next to it was Gagliardi's was the pizza place. Right next to Gaiety's in Lansing. Where Hooters is now. Like that sort of area, so it was right there. The seagulls would just flock in the back of us, like back there. And we would just take pizza dough. And I would load them up with hot peppers and feed the seagulls pizza dough and hot peppers so it would blow up their stomachs eventually because the dough would expand because they were like, anyway, I'm a horrible person. We're done. All right.
You're done.
Let's move on. Story time's over. Thank you, Ed Riley, for that amazing buildup. It's very cool. So check it out, everybody. We're going straight into news and reviews, Scott. All right. We have from Sweet Life Production. Their new release. My favorite. A quarter scale bust kit of Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg. A quarter scale bust for $200. Highly detailed model kit comes in 14 resin printed and clear vacuum formed headpiece. This is, I don't want to say, this is the wrong thing to say. I don't want to say it's better than the other things. Maybe it's more of a me thing. I love this kit.
This kind of looks like you. Like if you were to wear your hair and comb it over like that, you could pull this off.
Yeah. I've always wondered why there is a lack of other characters from The Fifth Element. And finally someone has done Zorg. And thank you, because this is like, when you think of this movie, Gary Oldman makes this character was fantastic in the movie. The stuff that happens with him, the outfits that he wears. And I think the one reason why people haven't done it is because of the clear piece on his head. Because it was always probably a kind of a weird thing you'd have to do. Or you'd kind of have to paint that, but then gloss it in a weird way compared to other stuff. So it's been a hard piece. And I think with the way technology's come, they've figured out a good way to do it. And with 3D printing, it makes that gun possible, which I don't think probably would have been possible in the past. Because if you look at the details on that gun, it's crazy. And holy cow, what an amazing piece. There's all the parts. The base has the symbols from the movie. If you've seen the movie, you know what they're talking about, the elements there. But wow, what an amazing kit. $200, quarter scale, 11.5 inches tall. An amazing likeness to Gary. I mean, that looks just like him. When I first saw this pop up on Facebook, I thought it was a photograph at first. I was like, why is someone showing this? And they're like, oh my God, it's a kit from Sweet Life. So well done, everybody over there at Sweet Life. This is a long time coming. I'm glad you're doing it. Scott, thoughts?
Well, so thoughts are, you didn't ask the obvious question. Have I seen the movie?
Okay. I didn't, because you mentioned it earlier, I think.
So yes, I've seen the movie.
Which I'm shocked, actually.
But don't be shocked because people are going to get mad. I didn't care for the movie. So to be honest, I don't remember this character.
So Fifth Element is a weird movie because it's not what people expected. But I think what we got is better than what we would have got if it was what everyone expected. Because I think everyone expected Star Wars, and you didn't get that.
Now, what I will say about this piece is, though, it is beautiful. It's a beautiful piece. And the gun is just amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll go back to, again, never would have been done with traditional casting.
As a caster, say that again. Could you have ever cast that gun really well?
Would have been hard.
It would have been really hard.
You'd have had a lot of failures. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So
it's great piece. I'm so happy they're doing it. As a follow-up to, they have their Tombstone pieces. And, I love it. I love what they're doing. So they will be at Wonderfest, I'm sure. Pick it up there, or you can order it now. Links will be down below. Thank you, Jeff, for sending it in. I'm very, very, very happy you did. But I'm going to read exactly what Jeff sent me so that I don't get in trouble. And we'll go from there. So, hey, Jason, I was hoping that you and Scott could share some photos and info on Sweet Life Productions' first release in a new series. So what does that mean? Is it a Fifth Element series, or is it because they did 3 kits from one movie before, or is it Gary Oldman characters? So I'm excited to see where this is going. So it's called My Favorite, a digitally sculpted quarter-scale bust of Gary Oldman as Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg from the 1997 sci-fi cult movie The Fifth Element, brought to life by master sculptor Daniel Danko Angelozzi and the SLP team. The bust stands 11.5 inches tall and was carefully broken down to 14 resin-printed parts. To add extra level of realism, the headpiece was created as a clear vacuum form piece. While the gun might feel a bit daunting, SLP took great effort in simplifying the assembly. We also supply easy-to-follow assembly directions. The kits are $200 plus shipping. Contact Sweet Life Productions at sweetlifefigures@gmail.com for availability, or join us at Sweet Life Productions page on Facebook for more information. Thanks, man. Jeff Camp, Sweet Life Productions. Awesome. Thank you guys for sending this in. You got another winner here. Like, it's dead on likeness. Man.
Right. And I've always said, and these guys are a pretty good example of it. And again, I'm not a fan of the movie or the character, obviously, but I've always said good will sell. And I think they've had really good luck with the Tombstone figures. And now this, I think they'll also have good luck with. Good is going to sell.
Yeah.
So that's
absolutely. Very cool. All right. Up next, get there. We have from Nostalgic Resin Productions, and this is them speaking, not me. We are excited to announce Sailor and Mates is ready for ordering. The kit is 8 3/4 inches tall, and the base is around 8 by 4 inches total. Price for this will be $145 shipped. We are taking orders now for the first 10 kits. I'm holding the rest for Wonderfest. This will be our last new kit announcement before the show. So we have Popeye from the live action movie of Robin Williams and Shelley Duvall. Here's the part breakdown. I've always wondered why there wasn't a kit of Popeye. It was on my list. I think it was on. This would be a good one to have. I know Scott probably hated the movie. Am I right? Excellent likeness of Robin Williams there as Popeye. You get your details. You get Sweet Pea there in the bottom. Nice little pier base. A goose, a duck, something there.
try a seagull.
Seagull.
You were just talking about blowing them up.
Oh yeah. Rats with wings. Same with pigeons. And so, is there spinach? Yes. So well done, Dave. This is very cool. Good to see. Again, branching out, doing something that people have never done before or seen.
It looks like another art print there. Comes with it.
Yep. Another art print from Aaron. Sure. Which is pretty cute. Has anyone done a Popeye before? I don't remember seeing. Have you?
Not from the movie, I don't think.
Yeah. Very, very cool. Excellent. Nice park breakdown, too. Not a lot of seaming. Looks like things kind of go where they should. So it should be pretty easy to put together. Nice little painter project. Up next from Nostalgic Resin Productions, we have Runner 6. Figure is $95 shipped. Taking orders now. This will also be available at Wonderfest. It is from the movie. You can see it right there. I don't want to say it out loud just in case David doesn't want us to trigger any censors. So this movie terrified me as a child.
I saw it, but I remember the TV show. There was a TV series. And I think it only lasted one season.
Yeah, I don't remember the TVs. I remember this coming on TV and just being terrified when the people start getting executed in the beginning. Like, what the hell? That's the future. I don't want any part of this.
Yeah. It was only it was loosely based on a movie, 1977. And Angela Cartwright was in it. She'll be at Wonderfest, I think. Isn't she? Is she coming to Wonderfest?
I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, I remember watching. It was only 14 episodes, so I probably saw them all. But
I could see that coming back as a series or even as a redone movie if they did it well. But man, she was always smoking hot in this movie.
Gregory Harrison, who played Trapper John MD in the Trapper John MD. No, he didn't. I'm sorry. He played Gonzo in Trapper John MD. Played Logan number 5. So,
yeah.
So there was a TV show as well.
She was smoking hot in the movie. Like, if you know what we're talking about if you've seen it.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it.
I tried to watch it recently, and I don't think I got past the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, you know what? I haven't watched it since I was a kid. I should try and rewatch it. Up next, from Nostalgic Resin, we have replacement heads. Replacement head set for the Mobius, Riddler, and Joker kit as a set, $25 shipped. So there you go. If you are not happy with those Mobius heads, here's some new ones to try out. Scott, thoughts on your favorite TV show of all time?
Dun, 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 dun. That was the Joker theme that would come on.
That's pretty good.
I know. So, as always, especially with Batman villains, I really like to see these painted. But the Frank Gorshin Riddler, for whatever reason, Mobius decided to do when he's in the coat and the derby and all that. Okay. And to me, the Riddler was always the tight suit with the, without the hat and the mask and all that. So, but it was cool that Mobius did do it differently. I will say that. It was cool that they did do it differently. So,
and I think with makeup on that Joker, it'll look really nice.
So, yeah, two great additions to the Nostalgic Resin line.
And the mustache is there.
Mustache is there.
All right.
With the Dirty Sanchez.
I have this. So this, I just got an email, like as we were loading up the show. And I got this email from Big Bad Toy Store. Just a product description here. Breaking news with Oshma's our accumulated expertise in plastic model technology. The new series PLA Fig, aims to deliver excellently sculpted plastic model kits as the series' memorable first release, Godzilla from Godzilla -1, makes its debut, based on the prototype created by the up-and-coming creature sculptor Shozu. Man, here we go. Shozu? I got that right.
Kanemushi.
There we go. Kanemushi. This compact model dynamically captures Godzilla's iconic fixed pose as it rampaged from Tokyo Bay to Ginza. Additionally, design ensures that sculpting remains intact, allowing you to enjoy Godzilla's aesthetic beauty simply by just assembling the kit. The package features an exclusive illustration by Taka-F. The package itself is a luxurious design that captures the impressiveness of Godzilla. Godzilla suddenly appeared in a scorched Japan. Experience the meticulously crafted 360 design of this symbol of despair by assembling it yourself. Wow. All right, so here's the details. This is where I got sad. First off, the price is $105. It is a plastic model kit. Okay. Scott, want to guess how tall? Unless you looked at it.
Oh, I'm looking at it. So
5.11 inches tall. So 13 centimeters. So it is a small Godzilla. Which, that's smaller than those. You know how Kyoto has those smaller scale ones? That's smaller than those, right?
Yeah, it's a little over 5 inches.
Yeah, so 5'11" inches,
So
5.11.
$110 for something that big.
Yeah. Now, here's the even sadder part. This is before tariffs and everything else. Because I got another email from Big Bad Toy Store talking about all the tariff issues going on. And, you know, that we're not going to talk about any of that. But the Gamera kit, I think, is roughly a little bigger than that. Which makes me feel like, okay, let me show more of this is more of it. It is a cool kit. For a plastic model, it reminds me a lot of the Warhammer stuff and a lot of the X Plus stuff. Warhammer stuff, plastic models, very super detailed. I have a feeling this has a lot in common with that stuff. And a lot of that, I'm trying to think their bigger ones are about $130, $100, $150. So it kind of falls in with that. That being said, I don't know how many they're going to, like, it's tough. For that price, for some people who like Godzilla stuff, typically like their Godzilla's bigger than 5 inches. But again, like I said before with the last one we talked about, that's a great size if you're trying to make a really cool base with a lot of broken buildings. Because once you start getting bigger than 10 inches, your buildings have to go that size too. You know, so a 5-inch Godzilla model is not a bad size if you're trying to do a nice destroyed base.
It's a nice detail.
Yeah, and that's what I think they're saying. Like I have a feeling like this, like there'll be very minimal seams. I'm pointing over here like people can see what I'm doing. Like if you look at the arm, it's almost like you can kind of see where the arm's going to join together. And I hope it kind of just goes together and you don't have to seam any of that. It'd be nice. But I thought it was cool. It just popped up right as I was going live. So that's that. Scott, thoughts on that?
Again, I'm with you 100% on size and price.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to kill their sales because Godzilla is a whole different animal.
Yeah.
For what people will pay. I mean, I've been to G-Fest and watched what people will pay for silly Godzilla toys that aren't even close to as cool as this.
We could be totally off base and people eat this up. You know, who knows? But especially like if it comes with an art print and some other stuff.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful piece.
Yeah, it's cool. All right, I'm just real quick. This is my little Wonderfest preview. This is I don't even have it yet. My plan is to try and have a few of these printed for Wonderfest. Maybe 6 scale, maybe quarter scale. We'll see. But this kind of blew me away when this popped across from CA3D. Arnold. It's Conan the Barbarian. And holy cow. That is a good Arnold as Conan the Barbarian. Now, the next one is Snake Plissken. I don't think I'm going to
go back to Conan.
Yeah. I don't think I'll have these, but I'm going to try. So you might have to talk to me after the show about the snakes. But Conan, holy cow.
So, as a comic collector, younger kid, I read all the Conan books. I read the first probably 100 issues of the comic book series. And then this movie came out, and Schwarzenegger looked the part. Okay. My personal opinion is I was kind of disappointed in the movie. I didn't think it was great. Part of it is this. I grew up loving movies like the Errol Flynn Robin Hood and the sword fights they had in that. Okay. And now you get to these Conan movies where he's got this sword, you need 2 hands. Like, okay. It's like swing and a miss and you're dead. It's not, you don't have the choreographed sword fight stuff that.
Okay, so this I love this conversation because this is a fundamental difference between Scott and I. One of my favorite weapons ever in a movie is in this Conan movie. And it's not this sword. It's the henchman of Thusula Doom with the giant hammer. That is out of like that giant maul is one of my favorite movie weapons of all time. Because if you just get hit with that once, you're in so much trouble. But you're right. If you miss with that hammer, you're in just as much trouble, which to me is why that is a cool weapon. Now, when I showed this picture to Jamie yesterday, he asked, well, why is he holding the blade? He's not holding the blade. There's a part on that sword that you can use it. Like a claymore has a part on that too, where if you could kind of use it to hold above the pommel and like this, so you can kind of use it to defend yourself a little easier. Because it gives you more leverage in trying to hold somebody back. And that's why that's there. And it helps disarm people. But anyway, but I see what you're saying. I get it. Because the Conan comic is much more swashbuckly. Whereas movie Conan is more, I crush you. Which, I don't know. Either way, there's good comic Conans out there. You know who needs to do it? I think Bad Wolf. A good comic Conan is up his alley somewhere. If he's watching, good comic Conan would be great.
Well, I will say,
but that likeness, dude.
comic Conan wise, Tony Cipriano's done a few. Hard Hero did one that was really well.
I wish I would have picked that up to go with my Red Sonja. That's one I kind of wish I got. Dude, I came across when I was in Savannah. I came across someone had a Hard Hero snake pit statue in one of their windows. I'm like, oh, I had that. I sold it, but I had the kit.
Those are easier to come by. The Red Sonja, I just saw one for sale not too long ago.
I had a King Kull that I sold once. That I had
and the King Kull and the snake pit, I don't think sold as well as the other two.
No.
And I had a Red Sonja. I had to pre-paint initially. And then one year there was a guy there blowing out the models for like $100.
That's when I bought the snake pit.
And then I sold the pre-paint. And then a couple of years later, I was able to get the Conan finally.
Real quick, I want to talk about the render here too. Dude, that is a really good render. That looks like someone painted that. Like, oh, it's getting crazy what we can do. All right, and then again, this Snake Plissken by Kutan. I might have a couple. I maybe one or two because I'm swamped, like I said. But this I thought was fantastic as well coming out.
So I want to talk about this.
Yep.
Okay. I think it's nice. Don't get me wrong. One of the things that I'm starting to see more and more of is I think some of these bases get overdone. Okay. And it's, but to me, the idea, and you as an artist would maybe
I agree 100%, but I don't think this base is overdone.
Okay. But
I think this base
should never overshadow the piece.
Right. There are, I will look specifically at Wicked. I think Wicked does some crazy, stupid bases that you don't need. And I like a good, simple base. But I think this, for what it's supposed to be, works perfectly. But I know exactly what you're saying. There's bases that are just too out there. Like, just nuts.
The Conan piece, nice, simple little base.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we have that. And then we have the Workbench, Scott. We're on the Workbench already. Or do you want to do our guests? Let's do our guests.
Yeah, let's do our guests.
Our first guest this episode is George Celitus. George is just going to go over, if you want to enter in the amazing model contest at Wonderfest here coming up very shortly, some changes to that, when you can enter, when you can do things. So I thought it'd be a good idea to have him come on and talk about some of that. If you have an oversized piece, what you need to do. Scott, other thoughts?
No, just some nice changes, especially to hopefully alleviate the lines to get your model in the room.
Yeah.
So it's, let's hope everybody takes advantage of that and alleviate some of that. So,
all right, here's George Celitus, contest manager. I think that's what we can call him. Contest organizer, engineer,
contest king.
George Celitus. Here he is, everybody. We are back with George Celitus. How are you, sir?
I'm well.
Your title over at Wonderfest, for people who don't know, what are you officially called again?
I am the contest chief, and I run the contest.
Cool. For the amazing model contest over at Wonderfest, Louisville, Kentucky. And it is May 31st through June 1st, coming up very quickly, 2025. How you been since we last spoke with you? All good?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, just getting my ducks in a row for the contest, and then we've been working through a lot of changes we're going to try this year. Every year we try to. My goal is to try to make it the easiest contest that you can go to. I try to get rid of some of the bottlenecks like what we had last year. That's my job.
Okay, cool.
You
We'll
know?
talk about that.
Yeah. Okay.
So far, you're still doing it. You haven't run for the hills yet.
Nope.
That's good. No matter, how many people take their jabs, because everyone
All I
knows.
got to do is make a trophy for free admission. This guy's got to run the whole contest, so I'm golden.
So how many years in a row is this now that you've been running things?
Let's see. This is my eighth
Eighth year. Okay.
year.
So
Yeah.
in those 8 years, what do you think you've learned? What do you think, like, some things that have gone really well since you've been there? And like your favorite thing that you've learned, changed, things that have gone really well.
Okay. The one thing that I'm happy about is we keep setting records every year. More and more and more. The interest. The other thing that I'm really happy about that really a lot of people don't know is I've managed to get with, like, last year we put 1,178 pieces on display. Along with that, you got to get more judges.
Okay.
And what I am really happy about is I had 15 judges last year, and all except 2 of them have either won golds or special awards. You know what I mean? So the pedigree's there. They know what they're looking at. They understand what they're supposed to do. And I'm very comfortable with all of them, because if they see something they're looking at, let's say that they're not quite sure, is it a silver? Is it a gold? They come get me. And I like that.
Yeah.
And then if I have to, I'll grab 2 or 3 other judges and we'll deliberate the thing. We'll go look at it. Doesn't happen often, but when it comes up, it's nice to know they'll come get you, So I am really, really happy with that. And they offer to come back every year too. So
that's always a good thing.
yeah, I don't run them off.
So because Jason's not a math guy, I just did the math real quick. That's about 77 kits per judge if you were to do math,
Sure.
So that's still a lot of work for those.
Well, that's
15.
a good question. Does it break down that way? Or do certain judges get more, certain judges get less?
Actually, what I try to do is it helps if I have an even number. I try to pair them off in 2s. So you have, so you have 2 guys, guy and a girl, whatever, discussing the merits of something.
Mm-hmm.
And that always helps. The Pittsburgh club that I came from a long time ago, we used to have 3 judges, but those are much smaller venues, we do 350 to 400 a show, but we'd have 3 judges paired in 3s going around. But I think two works fine. 2 works fine, and it's gotten to the point where those pairs are the same pair every year now.
Cool.
You'll get this guy and this guy. Hey, how's it going? Want to judge with they judge with each other, so they know how they think, what they see, stuff like that. So it's a great place to be, and we are out of there.
I was just going to ask. That was my next question.
Yeah, let's see, 5. Yeah, we're usually out of there in 4.5 hours.
Okay.
Even maybe 5.5, but even with a large amount of entries, mostly because we've computerized everything. That's a massive, massive help. It's as simple as the judge or judges writing with a Sharpie what it is: gold, silver, bronze, or merit, and then next model. There's nothing to write. There's no, before we had to write it on a separate receipt and put it in a basket. That takes time. They just write gold, silver, bronze, or merit, then the next model. Then what ends up happening then is my wife and Drew Roberts' wife, Stephanie, have handhelds. Handhelds hooked up to a network where they give them guys a half-hour start. Then they follow them and enter what the entrant won. and it goes right into the computer.
Awesome.
Oh man, it's
From being in there, I understand how much better that would be.
it's just fantastic.
Cool.
Yeah, it almost had me scratching my head the first year we did it. I'm like, they come up to me like, okay, we're done. And I'm like, really? And that's the thing I think I'm most proud of, the thing that we're happiest about. That's pretty much where I'm at.
Cool. So I want to go over the categories real quick for people. I just want to read them off and put them here on the screen so people
Sure.
can see them. Senior divisions, ages 20 and up, you have sci-fi, fantasy, includes robots, horror figures, vehicles, superheroes and supervillains, mecha, mobile suits, anime figures, dinosaurs, kaiju, props, dioramas, humor and super deformed, original sculpt / scratch built, and miniatures 28 millimeter to 120 millimeter. Then there is the teen division, includes all categories listed above for modelers ages 13 to 19. And then you have a junior division, includes all categories listed above for modelers age 12 and under. So those are your categories as of right now. Has anything changed category wise? Since
No.
Okay.
No. You said miniatures, right?
Yep, it's in there. Yep.
Yeah.
28 millimeter to 120.
That's right, you did. Okay. No, that covers everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do people need to know? First off, what are the big changes this year? What are they going to, in order to register a model? Walk us through the process. What's going to happen?
So the one thing I was pleased about, I forgot to mention, is last year we went electronic entry forms, the new system. We hammered it home when it went live. There was a few hiccups with the programming that we've since corrected as far as the way they printed. There were some weird issues. But we figured out what it was and we got it fixed for this year. What I was really impressed with is almost 90% of those entries they actually did online.
Very cool.
The common thought was, nah, you'll never get everybody to do that. Well, what we did is we set up, Stephanie, my wife, they set up 2 computers for them in the Franklin room. For the folks that didn't want to use the computer, didn't have time or whatever, they could go there and the girls would show them, what they needed to do and then print up their entry forms for them. Then they can go pay for them. They were pretty bored a little bit. They were standing around because we had such good participation. I couldn't have been any happier about that. So we're going to be going live here pretty quick.
Okay.
Now the other thing that's super important that we'll be dropping an announcement here pretty quick is typically you brought your entries to the contest room Saturday morning, and we've gotten so big that was not good last year. It was a mess. What we've managed to do is,
I didn't see the line. I heard about the line because we were stuck in it.
It was crazy. I mean, it was the worst of both worlds. You had everybody in line for the get in the contest room. And at the same time, early in the morning, you had folks in line for the early bird.
Yeah.
And at the dealer's room, right? So that was a bit of a mess. But what we've done this year, we've set it up. So we're going to be open from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Friday.
Nice.
Yeah. And then 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Saturday, like usual. But we're going to have all that extra time on Friday now. So what you'll do is if you've entered your entries electronically and printed them up, you'll go down to registration, which opens up at 2:00 Friday. Pay for your entries and your weekend pass or whatever. And then if you've got your kit with you, just take, we will have attendance at the contest room, the Cornet room, and we will escort you in and get you set up. So, between 2 and 8. So that'll be just outstanding.
Okay, so for just to repeat, Friday you're open 2 to 8 to start entering your kits in the contest.
Right.
Okay. Saturday morning, when can people start?
7 a.m. to 11 a.m. Then the contest room opens at noon.
Okay.
Yeah.
For you people that like to party Friday night, make sure if you wake up late like I do sometimes, Noon
Plenty
is
of
when
time.
it opens. So you have to have them in by 11, 7 to
Right.
11. Very cool.
So
Yeah.
let me ask you this, George, because I know,
Sure.
I think last year a few guys were like disgruntled dealer wise. A lot of dealers like to enter their kids,
Yes.
and they were trying to set up and stuff like that. And then they found out kind of afterwards, if you'd have told us we were a dealer, we'd have let you right in, set up your stuff, and get out. Is that
Right.
still kind of the case for these guys, or
Yeah, that's still the case. And also why I'm glad you brought that up. Also, what is it? Sunday morning, dealers asked if they could come into the contest room early to look at stuff.
Mhm.
They'll be able to do that too.
Oh,
Okay.
cool. Okay.
You know, we let the dealers in an hour, like an hour before, the public. So yeah, that'll be cool for Sunday morning.
Yeah, that'll give
Okay.
me a chance to get some pictures and video. So good.
There you go. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Scott,
if we don't sneak in there Saturday night like we tend to do.
Shh,
Yeah.
shh,
With that.
okay. This came up because our friend Jamie Sy has an oversized piece. If someone wants to
Yes.
bring one of those props that is an oversized piece or a diorama that's an oversized piece, what are the dimension specifications for anyone? And then what do they need to do for if they have something they think might be too big for the show?
Okay, so yeah, if it's past pretty much what it would be, 24 deep, 36 wide, that would count as oversized. It's generally a $5 fee
Okay.
extra because it's table space that we pay for. If it's big, like Jamie, the 1-to-1 droid bot,
Mm-hmm.
now that's a case right there. Or anybody that has anything that big that they need to get a hold of us as early as possible, just to make sure we have room. Now Jamie's in a good place. He got a hold of me. I have a home for him.
Oh, cool.
I can put him in a good place where it'll be seen well, but it'll be safe.
Mhm.
But we will get to a point. The earlier the better, because we will get to a point. If we're out of room, we're out of room.
So people, if you're seeing this now, which will be on the 30th, contact George immediately if you think you have something that might be too big. So
Yes.
Get that
Yeah.
taken care of.
Yeah, I had a piece. I had a piece one year. My God, what was that thing? It was 7 feet long, I think. It was massive, but that takes up a whole 8-foot table.
Yeah.
But he let me know early enough. And so the only problem I had is it was pretty much mechanized, and he had a thing when it throttled up to full speed, it would shoot CO2 out the back, and I'm like, no CO2. No, the fire marshal will have a heart attack, But he was cool. He understood,
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, no, none of that. It would have been cool, but none of that.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What are you most excited for this show coming up? Not so much as the contest runner, but just in general. Wonderfest happening. What are you looking forward to?
I really get fired up about everything. I mean, I hope that I keep seeing really crazy stuff come into that contest room, right?
Yeah.
There was a fellow last year that brought something. We ended up giving it Best Hardware Award. It was sponsored by Stevens Hobby, and it was just crazy good. It was like a 3-dimensional science fiction thing. He had it lit up as if it was in space. He did something similar to the year before, and it got great awards. And that's the first time he'd ever shown up at Wonderfest. And I'm like, this past year, I'm like, you coming back next year? Oh no, dude. He goes, my wife's baby's due, or something personal's going on.
Yeah.
He goes, I can't make it next year. I was actually disappointed. I'm like, really? But he was a super nice guy. So he said he'd be back in 26. I just want to see crazy stuff.
Yeah. Cool.
You know,
Crazy stuff is great to see.
Well, you're looking
Yeah.
at 2 right now.
yeah.
Yeah. That is very true.
And the other thing with me is my mission statement is basically fun. That contest room got to be fun. And I want imagination and I want inspiration. Inspiration is what kept me coming back to Wonderfest when I first showed up.
Agree
I brought
completely.
what I brought what I thought was a really badass model to Wonderfest the first time. walked in there like king shit. You know, I get in there and I'm 5 feet through the door. And I looked around that room. It took me 30 seconds. I thought, uh-oh. And then I spent the next 5 years wanting to know how everybody did everything. You know, I was just, and that's all that matters to me.
That's great. And I think some of those conversations that take place in the contest room about how people did things, or talking to someone who had, like, you're talking to the person next to you in line, looking at something going, how did they do that? And you both sit there trying to figure out exactly how things are made. And I love that kind of conversation.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yep.
It's really fun.
Yep.
Special awards. Do you know off the top of your head how many there are total this year?
I'm just gonna, I just ordered the ones today that we give out personally, and there was 12.
Okay.
But like Havocan, George Stevenson, guys like that to do their own stuff. I think there's got to be over 25.
Okay.
Special awards.
So not only can you it's merit, bronze, silver, gold. There are also special awards that can be had for best kaiju, best I think scratch built. I think there's one like that. There's what is
bust, classic horror, super
deformed,
humor, super deformed.
Yeah, right.
So there's a lot there.
Partial to that one.
Yeah. If it gets done. So, well, cool. Anything else people need to know right off the bat? Anything else? I think we're good. I think that kind of covers.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Now the other thing is that folks might be interested in is we're also going to have another event at Wonderfest. Jason Eaton, Quincy Cutshar are going to do this deal. The studio, what they call the studio, which is going to be in the Madison Room. And that's going to be a lot of Hollywood scratch-built studio scale stuff.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Bill George from ILM and all those guys, they're going to be involved heavily. And so there's going to be a bunch more models, to look at in there. And then behind the Madison in the Oldham room down the hallway a bit, they're going to have what they call the back lot. It's sponsored. We had it done with the Back to the Future time machine, and we got 50 kits from the Big Bad Toy Store. And the idea was anybody wanted to sign up for it, little competition. Take that Back to the Future DeLorean and then do something weird or wild with it. We did that last year with the Trek shuttle, and it went over really, really well. This year it's going to be the time machine. I've seen all kinds of crazy stuff online. Guys turning it into like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and a bunch of scratch. So there'll be a lot of fun in there too, outside the contest room.
So speaking of Back to the Future, I'm just curious, George, do you ever want to hear the theme from Back to the Future again after that entry? What was it, last year or the year before? We're just kept playing over and over and over. And it was a beautiful diorama the guy did, but it was just dun, 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 dun.
So it's a super talented guy, David Jacobs.
Mm-hmm.
And matter of fact, while I'm thinking about it, he's the one that did the giant 6-foot piece of the CO2 coming out the back.
Checks out.
I absolutely,
I just remember walking in there, and I was in there for about 10 minutes, and I'm like, somebody shoot me. Okay. And it's like, now granted, like I said, I've been given access on Saturday nights and stuff to walk in there when it's very quiet. Okay, for the most part. But it's like, man, I'm listening to that Back to the Future thing. I'm like, can someone turn that freaking thing off already? Jesus Christ.
That was my sidekick Drew. It took him like 2 minutes.
Did it? Yeah.
So I knew it was coming. I know what pushes his buttons.
So I have a quick question though. So last year you said there was a record 1,178 models.
Yeah.
So you've seen an increase pretty much yearly.
Yeah, about 10%.
So when you see that increase, is that increase more hardware coming, more figures coming? Is it balanced? What does that look like?
That's a great question. Something I've been on about for about the last 3 years, I think, is the hardware has been where it's been, but it's been growing a little bit. the figures were going down. I've noticed the last 3 years, because I try to keep track of this stuff. The figures have slowly been coming back up again. I don't know if that's because of the availability of kits now, because I know there's a bunch of cool stuff out there. And that's actually, because that's basically Wonderfest Genesis. That's how it started, right?
Yeah.
As a figure competition. And I'd like to see it balanced.
Mm-hmm.
I really would,
How about miniatures? Is miniatures going up? Because, I mean, to me, that's always something that should have merged.
Yeah, miniatures are going up. There was a surge in that last year, because I built those two black display cases for them.
Thank you, by the way, because those were really nice.
Oh, thanks. I mean, and we were talking. I'm looking. I'm like, I might have to build another one of them things.
Yeah.
We were having a problem early on.
Scott's dying. What?
I went down the wrong tube.
Sure wasn't an ice cube?
No, but Jesus, there's a lot of ice cubes in this cup. Don't start, George. Don't start. Okay. I'll have Drew kill you.
Something I noticed last year was there was a lot of outstanding miniatures.
There was. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like 54 millimeter stuff,
Yeah.
Really tiny stuff. And a couple of people called my attention to it. A couple of my judges, and went, like, oh my. And then I started noticing over the weekend, people were taking people over there and looking at some of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? How did you do that? And I have no interest in it, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I don't like the stuff. It's just not me. And they were just incredible. Just incredible. So like you said, I don't see how the two couldn't merge.
Yeah.
It's
great to have that category. I love having that miniatures category.
It's like 3D printing. Why can't 3D printing and traditional resin printing and styrene all merge? It's all figure painting or hardware painting or whatever.
Yeah.
Yet there's an aversion to 3D printing that I'm still seeing less and less. But
yeah. And it's like I said, I got asked that last year. I went to our Pittsburgh club show this year to help the boys, do some judging and stuff. And I heard people whining about it then. And I'm like, look, I don't care how you got that piece, whether it was injection molded styrene or it was 3D printed. What I care about is what's in front of me on that table when I'm staring at it.
Amen. Amen.
And, to me, if you can't be bothered, if it's a crap 3D STL, and I can see all the frame in it, stuff like that you don't bother to take the time to sand out and stuff. Well, hell, that's no different than flash on a plastic model. Clean it up.
Yeah.
Amen.
And I judged some 3D stuff in Pittsburgh this year. It was fantastic. Just fantastic stuff. So, yeah,
that's great to hear. One last thing. Sunday, I forgot. How do people find out what they won? Pick up their kits? How do they get stuff out of the room on Sunday?
Okay. Yeah. So they'll see on their adjudicator slip next to their piece what they got, gold, GSB, at that point they will take that receipt or the receipt that they have, they will take it to the Franklin room, and then we'll give them their award and a Nattaboy, and then they can go get their pieces. Generally, we don't like starting that till about 2 p.m.
Okay.
Could
you explain why?
Yeah,
there's a very good reason, and I want people to hear that reason.
Yeah, folks pay a lot of money for a weekend pass, and they get from noon to 5 on Saturday to see everything that's on display in that room, and then they've got maybe like 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock to get in Sunday and look some more.
And there's also people that only have a Sunday pass.
Exactly. Right. They pay their $40 or whatever. I don't keep track of that. It's not my gig, but, guy pays $40 and he goes into a contest room or something and he's got an hour.
Yeah.
It's not right.
Or just people like boxes everywhere and people packing stuff up. You don't want to, walk in on that and see that. So
exactly.
I get that people want to leave early, but please work that into your plans. If you know you have to leave early, maybe the contest isn't for you, because people do want to see your entry and keep it in there as long as possible. I know some of it sometimes is sour grapes because you didn't get what you think and you want to go home. But be proud of what you did. People want to see it no matter what. And
That's right.
leave it in there as long as possible.
Right.
I get it.
All right. So I would like to just recap. 2 to 8 on Friday, you can bring your kids to enter.
Right.
Okay. 7 a.m. till 11 on Saturday, you can bring your kids to enter.
Right.
Now, the contest room opens at what time Saturday then?
Okay. Contest room for now will be like it usually is. It'll open at noon.
Okay.
But don't hold me to this, folks. But if we get enough participation Friday and enough on Saturday morning, if we're pretty much done, we'll open it an hour early if we can.
Okay.
Right. You know, which would be even better, I think.
All right.
But
and then 9 to 10 on Sunday is dealers. Dealers have the opportunity to go in.
Yeah.
9 to 10. Okay. And then pretty much 10 to 2, it's open to the public on Sunday.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you, George. This has been great. Nice,
Sure.
easy. Wanted just to do a little recap. Oh, one other thing.
The swimming pool.
Where you live south side of Louisville, or where are you at in Louisville?
I'm 18 miles south of Louisville.
Okay.
Mount Washington.
Then you're who I need to talk to. And I want you to back me up if you know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
That South Louisville toy mall, that antique toy mall.
Yes.
Can you sing the praises of that place? Because I have now been there twice, and I think it is a great stop if people have a couple extra minutes on their way in or out of town. Stop in there. Is it worth, like, talk about it for a second if you've been there?
We were just in there. Let's see. We were in there around the first week in February. I had a buddy of mine from Wonderfest to come down to visit, and we were in there a couple hours. It's outstanding.
It is huge.
It is huge.
It is huge. It's in all of my travels of being dragged to antique stores, this place is overwhelming with how much stuff they have. So if you get a chance, it's right off 65. Do you remember what town it's in, George?
Yeah, you take actually what you're going to do is you take 65 to what is called the Brooks, Brooks exit. Let's see. How would you do that? It's just let's see, Brooks, it's 7 miles north of Shepherdsville off of 65.
Okay.
But yeah, you go let's see, get off onto Brooks, and then you're gonna see a Cracker Barrel. You see a bunch of restaurants like you usually do.
Yeah.
And hotels right there. But I believe that's Blue Lick Road.
Sounds familiar, yes. Yep.
Yeah. Hang a left onto Blue Lick Road and go about 2 miles down the road. It's on your left.
It's awesome. I really think if you, again, and there's model kits in there, and there's some modelers resources and kit builders, and I think there's some bleed over from Wonderfest that's in that place. So if you're looking for things,
could be. It's totally insane.
Yeah, it's nuts.
So totally I have a couple quick questions, even though it's not your area. Okay. Of course, we see on the internet, oh, the pool's gone, the pool this, the pool that. Like, I got them laughing. Okay. I went to the website and saw that the pool is done. The pool is ready. Okay.
Yeah.
And so give us the straight lowdown on the pool, for crying out loud.
I was in there not too long ago, and it's basically done. They hadn't filled it with water yet. It's also about half the size, if less, than it was.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be divisive,
but
in 20 years, I don't think I've seen more than 5 people in that pool at a time. So
I was just going to say, I get it if you're bringing your family. I'm not talking about them.
Yeah,
if you are a Wonderfest attendee, how do you have time to go swimming?
I have seen Troy McDevitt try to scale the fence and go in. I'm just saying. That was years ago. I'm sure he's outgrown that. Another question I have is, I got a couple questions still. Dealer's Room B. Has anything new happened in there as far as remodeling, or will Dealer's Room be pretty much the same still? Because I thought I heard they were going to change some stuff in there. But
yeah, they're still bouncing that around. No, they haven't really changed much in there. Not that I was aware. I mean, I was in there looking around. It looks the same to me. I mean, they do have plans for it. I don't know what they are. And you can never tell because, the original plan with the swimming pool was to get rid of it completely. But then they found out if they made it small enough, they wouldn't have to get lifeguards in there, which is near impossible around here to do. So you never know, but yeah, it pretty much looks the same. It's going to have a lot of guests and guest signings in there this year. And there'll be some vendors, there'll be vendors. But yeah, other than that, no, it's pretty much the same. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how are we looking on the renovations? Or is there still going to be a parking issue with all the contractor things there, or have those started to vacate out of there a little bit with the room renovation?
Yeah. Last time I was there, which was, I don't know, a month ago, something like that. No sea trailers. They were gone.
Okay, good.
So yeah, the parking should not be a problem this time around.
I mean, it always gets crowded during the day.
Well, sure.
But last time it was really bad.
Yeah.
And the bowling alley, it's gone. Is it leveled or is it still there?
It's not leveled yet. No, but it is gone.
Okay, it is closed.
So, yeah. Yeah. I wish it turned into a parking deck, but that's none of my business.
Or a food court.
Food court would be great.
Yeah.
So,
awesome.
All right. I think that's it for my questions.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay.
Thank you so much, George. This was great. If you think of anything else, email me, message me. I'll let everybody know if something changes. I'll just make an announcement in our last episode before Louisville. So
I sure will. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, George. George,
Thanks,
thanks everybody.
See you soon.
See you. Yep. See you soon. All right. That was George. Great changes. Get your kits in Friday if you can. It will make a huge difference for Saturday. So if you are there, and I really, you know what, that to me, as someone who always like leaving your model in a hot car overnight, because I would do that sometimes, because it was harder to get it up to the room than like through the elevator and back out. So I think it's awesome that you can do that stuff on Fridays now. That is really cool. And
it doesn't take away from your next day of getting into the show, whether it's an early bird or if you want to get in right away. You don't have to worry about, I can only walk around the room once because I have to get my kit in the contest, or whatever. Or, I didn't get that because I was standing in line to get my kit in. So that was, it's a good change.
And I totally forgot that there was online registration now. And I'm probably going to be entering the contest. If everything goes right, I have something for the contest. And I was just going to show up with it. I totally forgot I had to do it online before. So register online before, save some time. There will be computers there in case you do have to register there, but do it before. It saves everybody some trouble. So awesome.
Pay for it there.
And pay for it.
You can still pay for it there, but you're done, and all you got to do is pay and go.
All right. Thank you, George, for joining us. I think this is a great segment to do when we get close to Wonderfest every year. So, all right. Our next guest this episode is Dan Garden of Sci-Fi Models and Stuff. Dan always comes on. We had, I think, do a quick little preview video the one time. We had him on as a guest before. But Dan wanted to show what he's going to have at Wonderfest, some new stuff, some hints at stuff coming out. Just kind of, have a little chat. So here's Dan Garden, everyone. All right, we are back with Dan Garden of Sci-Fi Models and Stuff. How are you, sir?
I am doing good. Thank you guys for having me on.
I appreciate you reaching out. We put this out before, but you wanted to come on and talk about what you're going to have at Wonderfest, things that you got going on. You always have some new stuff, and I think that's great. So let's go over it. First of all, how you been since last time we talked to you?
Things are good. I think it's been about 2 years since I was last show. And things have changed a lot. The company has grown like wildfire. I'm up to my ears in resin kits, up to my ears in new production stuff. So things are good business wise. I'm of course stressing about Wonderfest in 5 weeks or whatever it is. But I think I'm in good shape this year, so it's nice.
Awesome. That is great to hear. How many Edgars do you have left?
So I sold them all. It took a long time, of course. But the biggest amount of sales that I got really over the whole life of the kit was after coming on the show 2 years ago. So, I think at the time you guys were like doing a promotion, like if I sell 10, you'll buy somebody a T-shirt.
Yes,
And
we did.
I think I sold 7 of them. So
Ah,
not
okay,
10, still
but
like
still,
really
but
good.
still.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. All right, what do you got new? What's coming on? I think the first thing I have on my list that you sent me is this gorgeous paint up of Vincent Price. So let's talk about that for a second.
So, I've kind of turned a new leaf with like new releases. I love surprising people at Wonderfest. I think everybody loves that, right? But from a business standpoint, it doesn't always make sense. Like, I need to get those sales as soon as I have product available. So, I will say in advance that a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about tonight, you've probably already seen before. You might have talked about it. It's been on the market for a little bit. There will be some surprises at Wonderfest, but they're going to be a little bit smaller. But yeah, let's talk Vincent Price. This is a paint up by a friend of the company, Crazy Joe, who lives local to me. So Crazy Joe's a great painter. He's a great guy. Everybody who's been to Wonderfest knows him, and probably
Whoa,
talked
hold
to
on.
him.
You live by
Whoa.
Joe?
How far away?
How far
I
away?
mean, like, are you safe at night?
Are you within earshot? Are you within earshot? Can you hear him?
Oh, actually, can you imagine he comes in? No,
It wouldn't surprise me. So
it's in my spare bedroom. Yeah.
Oh man.
No, we're members of the same IPMS group. So
Awesome.
I actually met him shortly before I started doing resin stuff. So I had a new paint or a new kit out. I had no time to paint it, so there's nobody like Crazy Joe to get that going. So he did a really good job. I got to redesign the box art all around this black and white painting he did. He did a great job. I love it. So
I have to say, I've known Joe a very long time, and I've probably seen most things Joe has painted. This might be one of his best things. I think this is beautiful. And I'm looking at it because up here I have a little thumbnail. I have to keep looking over here at the bigger screen of it. And holy cow, Joe. Well done, sir.
he's good. I will say, as much as I
Man.
love it, and I don't mean this as a dig at all, but he's such a prolific painter when it comes to like dinosaurs and like
Yeah.
women, that like this Vincent Price, like compared to some of his other stuff, I think his other stuff's a lot better. I love the effort he put into it, but if you could see his studio, you would change your mind real quick.
Oh, I love it. But it's just a great piece. So talk about this piece, sculpted by Jeff Yeager. Where'd you get the idea? How'd it come out? Run us through it real quick.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's really not a lot to talk about. I love Vincent Price. In my mind, in this time, which I think is about like 1958, when he did House on Haunted Hill, he was younger. He didn't have the gray hair, and like, I feel like he could have very easily been a leading man in Hollywood instead of like this kind of B movie character. So I kind of wanted to capture that, and there's a great still image from House on Haunted Hill of him kind of like leaning over this lamp that's covered in cobwebs. It's been carted away or kept away for 30 years or whatever. And I kind of wanted to replicate that. It wasn't, it didn't lend itself to a kit as easily as it could be. So I worked with Jeff to come up with this concept. I will say by that Jeff did everything himself. He's a genius. I was like, Jeff, look at this picture, make it a kit. And he just like, went off script a little bit and made this. So I love it. It's perfect. He's amazing. This is my first time working with Jeff Yeager. Of course, he's the Godfather or the Harry Houdini of like sculpted kits, right? There's nobody better, and I think I learned that firsthand with this one.
Okay, if someone's interested in this, what's the price?
This is $140 free shipping in the U.S. It's a big old quarter scale kit. I think it weighs like 4 pounds. It's just very large, a lot of resin. So the lamp there can be lit with an LED. It's got a nice channel going through it. There's been a couple paint ups that people have lit, which is really pretty nice as well.
Man, it is a cool piece.
Yeah, I'm going to have plenty available. Molding was done by Bradley Worley. Again, the best in the business. So I had the best guy sculpting it, the best guy molding it. I'm casting it. I'm not the best, but I'm a lot cheaper than
The best guy's promoting it. The best guy's promoting it here.
Exactly. It's a group effort.
Very cool.
I think that's a great price for it. Actually,
that is a great price. Yes.
I'm glad to hear that. I struggle a lot with pricing, and maybe that's a conversation for a different time. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I of course run my business as a business, but as a collector as well, I try to keep my prices as low as possible to kind of, make it accessible. So, a conversation for another time, but I'm very glad to hear you guys think that.
Yeah, I think that is a great price for, like you said, how many pounds?
It's like 4 pounds and 10 ounces. Yeah, it's a big one. Yeah.
That's a baby. That is a baby.
Yes.
Awesome. So up next, 2001, Dr. Bowman.
Yeah. So this was sculpted by a friend of mine, Miguel Zupo, who it's funny, I didn't think about it when sending you pictures after the Jaeger piece, but I consider him to be the Jeff Jaeger of Brazil. He is incredible. He works so well with likenesses. I think, if he were here in the US, I think Jeff would have a little more competition. He's awesome. This was one that he had done for himself, reached out to me a few months after it was done, looking for a producer to buy it. I like 2001 as much as the next person. I'm not like a huge fan, but seeing this kit, I was like, wow, this is gorgeous. I have to have this. So again, not a lot to say about it. It's somewhere between 1/6 and quarter scale, maybe 1/5. I haven't really measured it, but it's in that ballpark. You can see, I think I sent you the picture next to the Coke can.
What is the clear piece made out of? So people.
The clear piece is a solo cup. So, yeah, no, it's great. So I
love Modeler Brain. I love Modeler Brain. We're like, what will work? Cut this cup. That's great.
It's great. I had done that Space Monkey piece a few years ago, and I spent literally a year trying to get a clear visor cast that was like good enough for a visor. So when Miguel sent me this, I was like, hey, like first question, like what is that visor? And he's like, oh yeah, it's a solo cup. It's like whatever they call a solo cup in Brazil. So I have a template. It's pre-cut for every kit, so the modeler doesn't have to do anything. It's right there.
That's brilliant.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's so simple too. I mean, I bought 100 solo cups for $5 or whatever. I have an unlimited
for someone who has tried to cast clear resin a bunch of times and is never happy with it. That is not cast, print clear resin.
Now, is any of that 3D printed or is it all cast?
That's all cast. You'll notice like some of the tubes on the side. I am working to have those translated into 3D because they are very difficult to cast. Everything else is cast though.
Man, I think this is a great piece for crossover for the sci-fi guys that are at Wonderfest. So I hope a lot of people see this and then stop by your table because this is fantastic. I think it's really cool.
Do you have a price on this one? The price on this one? Yeah.
I've been doing 120 on this one. There may be show specials for everything, so I probably should have said that at the very beginning. But probably going to do some show sale prices for basically every kit.
And how big did you say it was?
Probably about 9 inches tall.
Okay.
Somewhere between 1/6, 1/4, around there.
Cool. Yeah, great piece. And then you have something really cool coming out, and we featured it on the show not too long ago. Your Tin Soldier.
Man, I love this kit, and nobody else does. So listen,
This will be our next T-shirt giveaway.
But Dan, okay, let's stop right there before we go. That warms my heart to hear you say that. Yeah. And as sad as that can be, we'll put the sad part of that to the side. You're doing something that you like, that you think looks cool. It will eventually find its audience. And if it doesn't, shame on them, because this is a really cool piece. And,
it is what it is. No shade to anybody in the industry, but there's a million Frankensteins out there, and I'm guilty of this too. Like here I am coming out with a Jaeger Vincent Price. Like there's a million of those too, right? But when I think about like the really iconic kits of the industry, they were all kind of like the first of, right? So like Jesse has his Halloween Nightmares that are like familiar, but they're unique, and his like Denizens of Zoe, same thing. Like Filmy's got his kits that are familiar but unique. So when I'm like thinking of new kits to do, I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to do new things that haven't been done before. And luckily, since this one is a 3D printed kit, I don't have 25 of them in boxes in my spare room. So I can control the production a little bit better. If they don't sell well, it's not too much of an issue outside of, financial issues. Um, my idea with this, as you said a minute ago, is to kind of bridge the gap. Like, I want to bring in the military modelers. So outside of the robotic elements of this kit, everything is accurate to a World War I soldier. The rifle, for instance, I think you have the painted up version in the picture, is dead accurate. I was an Enfield rifle collector for a number of years, so I made sure that everything down to the last detail was perfect on that. Same thing with the helmets and the saddlebags and the boots and the leg wraps. So I'm hoping that this will get people to kind of stretch their horizons. Maybe somebody who hasn't done military kits or somebody who hasn't done sci-fi kits.
You have a backstory to this that, like, in your brain, what's the story around this guy?
Yeah. So please edit this down because it's going to get really long. So I don't have the dates in front of me, but sometime early days of World War I, Winston Churchill, you know that old guy, was tasked with like creating this committee to build what would eventually become the first tank. So the idea was that they needed a way to withstand bullets, move troops, cross trenches, all that stuff. So my idea was like, okay, what if instead of building a tank, they just like built a robot instead? And like, granted, the technology wasn't there, but it's kind of that like iron pump kind of thing where like this would fulfill everything a tank could do. Could cross the trenches, it could withstand bullets, all that good stuff.
So I think I mentioned this on the show. Are you familiar with Trench Crusade yet?
I am. A little bit. Like I know the concept. Yeah.
That stuff's cool. So if anyone is not, go look up Trench Crusade. It's a new tabletop war game based around like if hell took over and it's kind of stuck in World War I. We have the religious side versus the demons, but it's all World War I inspired, like that sort of aesthetic, and it's really cool. And I think this fits kind of like right in there. It can be you do like a little miniature army of these guys for there because it's an open system and you could use any characters they said for that game. So kind of works.
So this is what scale and sculpted by whom and price?
Okay, so this is 1/8 scale, sculpted by a frequent collaborator of mine. I'm going to butcher his name, but it's Ezequiel Devoto. He's another Brazilian guy. He had done my Godzilla piece. He had done my roller derby girl a few years back. Great guy. I love working with him. This paint up is by Matt Kay, who, by all accounts, had a really good time with it. You'll have to ask him in person, but allegedly he loved building and painting it. So glad to hear that. Again, we're looking at 120 on this. It's a 3D printed kit, except for the base, which is resin cast to give it some weight.
Very cool. Up next, skeletons.
Yeah, so this is kind of another product of Model Club TV. A few years ago, I had done a Harryhausen skeleton, and then 2 years ago on the show, I kind of teased the next one, and took about 1.5 years to get out, but it eventually did. And every year at Wonderfest, these Harryhausen skeletons are by far my most popular piece. I don't know if it's price point, I don't know what. But I sold about 20 of them last year. And every time I talk to someone, they're like, hey, you got to do more of them. You got to have the one with the spear. You got to have the one with like the feather in his hat, like all these different things. So I think this will probably be the last one I do. I think from here, the 3 skeletons I've done can be kind of customized to, meet any of the movie scene. Yeah, I mean, that's really about it. So these are 1/8 scale. They are $50 a piece. If you buy more than one, there's like a descending scale. So you get 2, I think they'll be 45 a piece. 3, they'll be 40 a piece. Work with me, whatever you want to do. I have a guy in, I think it was New Zealand, who bought 16 of them from me because he was making like a giant chess set and he wanted them to be the pawns of the chess set. So, I'm willing to deal on these.
That's I want to see that chess set.
I don't know what he did with the other pieces. I have no clue. Like the rooks and the kings
Yeah.
and queens. No idea. But skeleton pawns.
Awesome. All right, the Flintstone.
Yeah, this one debuted last year, the full size 6 scale figure. This is another one. It didn't do particularly well. I really like it. It is what it is. I guess I will never understand my customer base, but it comes with a couple different heads, comes with a couple switch out arms, so you can kind of customize it a little bit. This year we're doing a bust version of it too, which is more affordable. It's a little bit smaller. Super fun to paint. I painted up the bust version here. I had a great time with it.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Who sculpted this?
And again, I'm going to go to, this is how it all started. Guys doing what they wanted to do, not necessarily what they thought will sell. Obviously, you want to do something that'll sell or you won't be in business long, but it is still nice to see someone do something they want to do. So.
Yeah.
Who sculpted this piece?
God, I can't.
We can.
His name is. He's another Brazilian guy. He's one of my Brazilians. Love those guys.
How many zeros in a Brazilian?
Oh man, no, it's cool, and the render is really nice too on there.
Yes, he's very good at that as well. It was the sculptor, and that's a nice service when your sculptor can do more than just sculpt and kind of give you something that you can use for box art or whatever.
All right, and then you have your Godzilla piece.
Yeah, so real briefly, this one came out as a prototype last year. So we had a bust version that we had for sale last year that was kind of like a very limited run thing. And at the time, we took votes to determine if this kit should become a full-fledged kit. We knew it was going to be expensive. We knew it was going to be a lot of work. But the idea is it's a representation of Haruo Nakajima. You'll have to cut out my little stutter there. Here, I'll start again. Haruo Nakajima, who was, of course, the man inside Godzilla 1954 and several other kaiju at the time. There's this really iconic picture of him just standing on set, holding the suspenders, just doing his thing. So we recreated that. It went well for us. This kit sold well. However, it's a lot of effort. It's pretty expensive to produce, and demand has kind of died down a little bit. So we will be retiring it this year. I wanted to make sure that for everybody not on Facebook or not watching this, that they did have their chance to see it in person after last year. So I think I'll have 6 or 7 for sale at Wonderfest. This is 1/8 scale. It's about 12 inches tall. Combination of primarily cast resin parts. And the fins and the teeth and some of the finer details are 3D printed. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I do. Mine is sitting on my bench, ready to paint. Like I'm like ready to get going on it. Is there a color photograph anywhere? I haven't looked yet. I was just about to start Googling. So is that your best guess on colors on the clothes and stuff? That's just, it is a personal point of privilege to
Yeah, I should mention that the pictures I sent you were painted up by Robin Kwok.
Okay.
That's not my paint job. That is, simply used with his permission. I wish I had that kit on my table, that painted kit to display. I believe that Robin knows better than I do when it comes to colorations.
Okay.
Things. So I would suspect that those colors are fairly accurate.
Okay, cool. All right. That's all I wanted. Well, that's great. It's great to hear that it did well, and the kid's going to get retired.
It's nice. It's a great feeling to not have to produce something anymore. You got everything you wanted out of it, and you can just move on with your life. It's a wonderful feeling.
Awesome. And then a Batman bust.
Yeah, this one came out last year as well. This was by Miguel, also, who did the 2001 kit. Very similar story. He had sculpted this for himself, sold a few in Brazil, and decided he wanted to make some money. So he sold me the rights to it, sold me the masters and molds and everything. So it's just a fun little kit. It's cheap. It's nice. It's kind of like a unique presentation of Batman. I like it quite a bit. So we'll have that at the table again this year.
And then Jim Henson.
I love this kit. I think this kit was, extremely well received. However, my last batch of the kit, the casting is not quite where I would want it for a finished kit. It's entirely workable, but it's not to the same level that Bradley would produce, for instance. So these are going to be discounted. This is going to be what I call a factory second. So this is going to be kind of a blowout as we kind of just move this inventory. Again, the kit will be complete. Everything is entirely workable, just a little bit rougher than I would like. So, if anybody's interested at the show, feel free to ask about it. We're going to make this, of course, well known. You can open up kits. You can take a look at the box or the parts and make sure, it's something you can do. But yeah, that's where we're at with Henson. We are going to be putting out a smaller version as well. One of the pieces of feedback I received on this kit was that it's simply too big. It's Edgar all over again. The kit is too big. It's too heavy. I think that one was like 6 pounds of resin. So we are putting out a smaller, maybe 8-inch, approximately 1/8 scale bust of that same kit.
That's a good idea. I think that's a cool idea.
Yeah, I think it was Scott actually said several episodes ago, maybe years ago at this point, that it's a really good idea to make the most out of your sculpt.
Yeah.
So with 3D printing, it's easier all the time.
Absolutely. That is
Now, it hasn't helped me any, just so you know.
I heard about that.
It's a great idea.
Well, I went to a Jim Henson exhibit recently, and this picture was the biggest picture in the whole. It was one whole wall was this shot for the real life shot. I was like, I instantly took pictures of it, so I know I had some for reference, especially the headband and the foam piece is a little weird the way he did it in real life. So.
I'm not sure if his headband was like snakeskin or like beaded or something.
It was like beaded. It's like all these little beads and stuff to actually see it, because you could actually the picture was bigger than life size, so you could actually get in there and see the details on it. It was pretty cool to see. But it's nice. So awesome, great stuff coming out. Any hints or clues as to new things that might show up? I don't want you to give anything away, but will there be surprises?
There'll be some small stuff. I've got 2 unique pieces. I would say totally unique, not like anything else out there. I don't know if they're going to make it to the table. If they do, I don't know if they're going to sell. I will say I gave a hint as I was speaking earlier that, might have slipped past your ear of a kit that'll probably be available sometime next year.
Cool.
It'll be another Jaeger piece. So, if you want to have your viewers listen to that
go back
section,
and listen, rewatch.
You might hear something, you might not. Who knows?
Hey, we could hit them with the light so they forget. Okay.
More Men in Black kits. That's what it is.
It's a smaller Edgar.
Yeah, there we go. It's actually a bigger one. It's full size.
Yeah. And a life-size Fred, and you're golden.
Yes, all of that.
Great. Well, Dan, this has been
Great.
fantastic. Anything else? You excited? You coming in Friday night? You doing the usual stuff?
Yeah. So this year I've rented a big old cargo van. I feel like a real producer now. I've got my Jaeger piece and I've got my cargo van, right?
Nice.
So coming in Friday, I think this time we're going to be staying an extra day. So, Sunday is always kind of a mess. Everyone's trying to pack up early, and I always feel guilty about it. So I'm going to be taking that Monday off from work, so I will be there the entirety of the show Sunday, probably leaving sometime Monday morning. So if anybody wants to hang out Sunday, should be around.
Do you know your location in the dealer room?
Yes,
Sorry.
I am in the same place as last year, which is the middle row, about 2 or 3 booths down from Filmy.
Okay. Not bad. So you'll walk in and you turn right in the middle.
Yes. Yep. You guys are in dealer room B, is that?
We got moved into A now.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure where it is, but I think we're in the first row, kind of by Terry, maybe a little. I don't know. I have to look again. We'll find out.
And is there a reason the King Kong is not where I can see it on the shelf behind you? I mean, I'm just curious.
It's always about Scott. It's always
is
about
this
Scott.
really
Is
is this really a problem Okay.
Listen,
It's on his nightstand, so he sees it every morning when he wakes up.
Oh my
Yes.
god.
Honestly, I would put it there. I love that kit. Scott, we talked about it recently. I think you should re-release it in a full cast resin, the 18-inch size.
Oh my god.
Listen, I know why you won't do it. I think it would be a really bad business decision to do it, but I think you should because I won't.
I'll print you one that big, but I don't.
No, I want a cast. I want like a 20-pound, like.
Hey, can't I just give you an ornament instead? Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna buy one from you. I wanted one last Christmas, but you were too busy. I don't know, printing.
Yeah.
So
I got it so late last year that it was like.
It's
I
tough.
said I'm just gonna hold them for Wonderfest.
How do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, so easiest way, message me on Facebook, either at Sci-Fi Models and Stuff, my company name, or me, Dan J. Garden. I'm in all the Facebook groups, I'm Resin Maniacs, all that good stuff. Very easy to find. Also on Etsy, also on Instagram. Someday the Sci-Fi Models and Stuff website will be live. It is not today, but someday, maybe soon.
Awesome. We will put all those links down below for everybody, and we are looking forward to seeing you at Wonderfest. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks,
Always a pleasure. And stop by anytime. Anytime you want to come on and just say, hey, I got something. I'd like to talk about it. Let us know. We'll have you on. So anytime.
Love that. Thanks, guys. Always a pleasure.
Awesome. Great seeing you, Dan.
All right. See you soon.
Dan. Thanks.
All right. Sci-Fi Models and Stuff. Scott, thoughts?
No, it's cool. I love that Dan came on and heeded our advice and said, let's push what you're selling at Wonderfest or what you're bringing. We have one more episode for any dealer that wants to reach out and do what Dan just did.
Yep. Anybody, come on in. We'll make the whole episode little interviews like that. So
yeah, if we get enough of them. Yep.
Cool. So thank you, Dan. Go check out Sci-Fi Models and Stuff. All the links are down below. Awesome stuff. That Vincent Price, man, is so cool. And the Tin Soldier. Love it. All right. Workbench, Scott. I finally finished painting a model. My mummy. There it is. I'm not happy with it, but I'm calling it done. There's some things I want to change, but I'm putting it away for now. I want it off my bench.
Well, how much of that is the forced lighting? I guess
none.
Okay.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, like as far as do you paint it that way?
I painted it that way. There really isn't a shadow on it.
Well, that's
there's a little bit of a shadow under his chin, but not much. I flipped my workbenches. I moved printers to one side, moved my other workbench to the behind here. Now, build stuff. I base coated something. I did my Zen. I don't want to pick this up because when I did, I snapped a piece off the other day. I'm just going to show everybody this because I don't want to do a full-on reveal. That will be yellow. Again, remember the magenta undercoat for yellow is amazing. So that's where we're headed with that. That is hopefully what will be done for Wonderfest.
Now, where did you get that tip?
Saw it in a miniature painting video once. And it totally works because you know how yellow covers like garbage. And if you paint everything yellow or magenta first and then yellow, it covers a lot better. And magenta, if I go back to my mummy picture, the magenta, the bottom there of the mummy letters, that's magenta mixed with yellow. And so it kind of works really well as a darken that yellow up. So there's that. All right. Monument Hobbies put these out on their website, and there's no way they're going to be helpful here on this video. So please head over to Monument Hobbies on Facebook, probably is a way to, I'll find a link for it. They put up these little painting guides, worn purple fabrics, and it lists their colors that you would use and their steps for each one. You have a worn purple fabric guide, flames if you want to learn how to paint fire. We have it there. Most people paint fire backwards for some reason. This is the correct way to paint fire. It is.
Yeah, so now I'm looking at that, right? And I'm seeing fluorescent yellow.
Yep.
Fluorescent orange. And I'm like, well, guess I got to buy the fluorescent set.
So we have flames. Then we have how to do gold armor with their metal. I think this is with their metallics. They also do a guide I just saw of doing non-metallic painting of gold. Gold armor, burgundy demon skin guide, and they have this one I like the most. This brown fur texture. So how to paint fur texture when there is no texture. So you're basically painting on the fur, which is what we kind of talked about with that girl's hair. Then we have weathered bronze armor is there and green scale. So, and most of this is done on miniatures, but it can apply to everything that we do up in Garage. I'll put a link out for those.
Yeah, I'll just screen grab those.
And then, hey everybody, sorry about the screwed up cameras. I didn't want to set up the whole thing, so it's a little messed up looking right now, and that's okay. We're going to do the giveaway. I wanted to give everyone a little extra time, all right, to enter the contest because we had to record so early. So I'm going to spin for the Cochise from Just Paint It first. So the winner will be here. I will press spin all on my own. Don't need Scott to shuffle. And we're recording this now. Look, there's my hand. We get 2 cameras. Ooh. All right. So here we go. Shuffling and spinning. The winner of Cochise from Just Paint It is Frank Zilla Stein. Frank Zilla Stein has won the Cochise. Send us an email at modelclubtv.com. All right, good job. Congratulations, Frank Zilla Stein. All right, and we have the respin of the Batman wall bust from Cthulhu Gizzard and Mike Swistak. So thank you again, Cthulhu Gizzard. This was never claimed, so we are respinning. We have a few entries for this, and we are shuffling and spinning. Here we go. Who wins the Batman wall relief? It is... oh, that's mega close. RC Flex 1. RC Flex 1, you have won the Batman wall relief from Cthulhu Gizzard. Send an email to modelclubtv@gmail.com. Back to the show. Emails, voicemails, and corrections. If you would like to send us an email, it is modelclubtv@gmail.com. modelclubtv@gmail.com. If you would like to send us a voicemail, which we've only got 2 from Allison AI. We haven't had a lot. I haven't put the number up in a while. Please, let's get normal voicemails. Some questions to answer. Some good questions. Some thoughtful things. Hobby related. The comedy show is okay once in a while, but man. 708-816-4299. 708-816-4299. All right. First email from Matthew Cook. You did a great show and it cost me $40 because I ordered some Avies clay that I will probably make a big mess with. Your comments about Grail Kit, and thank you for buying from Avies. We appreciate it. I think they got some sales from us. So please keep sending that money over to Avies. Buy their stuff. Your comments about Grail Kits intrigued me. I disagree there can only be one Grail Kit. Some days I can be so focused that I terrify those around me, and other days I have the attention span of a rat in a burning meth lab. This means that I have had several Grail Kits in my head over the years. There are always several kits in my mind that I would call Grails. My Miami Vice boat, in progress, was one until I found it at a show and my head exploded. Of course, another kit moved into that slot in my head. One experience that comes to mind is when I found the Revell Robotech factory kit and I was allowed to peek into the box. I immediately realized that I had long since acquired better kits of the mechs and I had more than enough stuff in my house to build my own version of it, and that would be much more satisfying. Grail kits are sometimes better left as an inspiration. Hold on, I want to get back to that. A comment on Wonderfest. I only went to 2 of them so far. I met a lot of people I had been talking to online for many years but never met. A couple were actually surprised I had never been to one. I basically did what you tell your teenage daughter to never do and meet a bunch of online strangers. To say I received a warm welcome was an understatement and realized I was hooked. And the models are worth the drive. That's awesome. That's fantastic. I want to go back to this being disappointed in a Grail kit. Has that ever happened to you? where it's like, I want that kit so bad. And then you get up there, you open the box and you're like, oh, it's that big? Or like, I'm sure it's happened.
So,
I'm going to have to think about this for next
I
episode.
think what's happened to me is at the time it was a Grail kit. I got it. I was excited. And then years later, I look at it and I go, now we've had better. Okay. So a good example for me is I have the Resin from the Grave Kong versus T-Rex.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which at the time I thought was such a great idea, and the Kong on the back of the T-Rex prying the jaws apart. The castings are so horrendous. Okay. That it's like, there it sits, and I actually have 2 of them. Okay. Somebody wants to buy one, send me a message, we'll talk. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. So, sometimes you get stuff and then when you get it, it's kind of like, yeah, maybe it wasn't as good as I thought it was, but I don't know. For the most part though, I've kind of weaned off of a lot of that, or
Yeah.
I've said, what can I do different and to it. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it happens.
I've done that too. I've
can
bought
see
some kits that I've sold that I'm really mad that I sold, but I'm one of them, and I think it was recently, wasn't that a couple things that I had sitting there forever planning on building, and one of them was the Netherworld Edward Scissorhands. And I opened that box so many times to like go, all right, I'm going to build this. But again, the castings were so bad and the detail on it is so ridiculously, like there's so much that you would have to fix. And then it has real hair. And I'm like, I just don't want to do this. And it's one of those kits I always wanted and got it. And I just said, no, not for me. Another one, the Hogan's Bones, that Apocalypse horse guy. I don't know if you remember that. Fisher did it.
Yeah,
in one of the,
yeah, I remember.
So I had that, and I got that from a friend I don't talk to anymore, and I sold it, and I wish I didn't, but at the time, like that's one of the coolest kits I've ever seen. And then when I finally had it, I was like, I guess it's okay, and then I ended up selling it because I had to make rent a couple times and sold some kits. The one thing I regret selling the most. Do you have something you regret selling the most? It doesn't even have to be
talk
a kit.
about yours. I'll think about mine.
Mine is the Takaya books, the Angles of Hunters books, the 2 Takaya set books. I had those. I got them from the Japanese bookstore out here in Arlington Heights, and I love those books. But at the time, they were going for $700 on eBay, and I was like, that's rent. That's almost all of rent. And yeah, I wish I never, ever, ever sold those books.
So,
it kills me to have not.
If I had a regret of selling stuff, it would have been my collection of Aurora kits that I had.
Nah.
Okay. Because I had all original superheroes. Okay. And I had all the monster rods, including the Godzilla's go-kart, although that was a built-up. Okay. But the rest were all original mint in the box Aurora kits. I had all the Aurora glow kits because to me at the time, by now, if I would have kept going with Aurora kits, I probably would have had all the long box kits as well of the same kit because that's insane. Polar Lights came out. I get the long box art. It's awesome. I'm glad I have it. But it would have been kind of cool to still have those original Auroras.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I could never build them, and that's what killed me about
it.
Okay. So if there's a regret about selling anything, it's that. But at the time, you needed rent. I needed a down payment.
Yeah.
Okay. And at the time, I sold my comic books and I sold my Aurora collection, and I ended up with about $15,000 at the time. So it's like,
yeah,
it moved me forward in life at the time.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. Now, has it happened since? No. And that's why there's 700 fucking kits in my basement, because it's like, once I sell something, I'll look at it and say, okay, I'm okay selling it. And I don't look back.
And we talked about this a little bit last episode. There's future kits that I'm sad I sold, but at this point, it's not going to get built anyway. Like,
you know, I had the Dracula Lucy kit where the wolf, where he's got her on the bench. Beautiful sculpt. Okay, it was a beautiful sculpt. A, I didn't like the movie that well. B, it's not something I can really openly display in my house and not have to explain to people. Okay. So it's
I always go with the fuck 'em theory, but I don't have a lot of kids over here, so it's like,
yeah, well, and that's the thing, and I may not either, but it's just it's
I was thinking I have a very, very rare kit that I want to do a painting series on. And we still, again, for people, I still want to do the Phantom painting series. I got to finish my Cave Bear one. I want to do the Wrightston Frankenstein series with you. We're still going to get that sorted out. But I have a very rare future kit that I bought from Dan before he passed away, quite a few years before he passed away. That I want to do a paint video on that thing, or at least show it on camera, because it's one of those future kits that people are like, oh man, that's cool. So I'll leave it as a surprise for when it happens. So that's future. Anyway, all right, one more email from Marshall Allman. So Marshall has sent me. We have a little bit of a working history. I did some base for him for that thing that I think we showed on the show. Yeah, and he just sent me this, an in progress of Frankenhooker that he's working on. And let me get to the right button again. And I keep sending these, Marshall. I just send me in progress, show them on the show. I love seeing things as they're going. So here's his, he's working in progress on Frankenhooker. Hello, Jason. Hope you are well and busy building up for Wonderfest. I was starting a new project and thought you might get a laugh out of it. Take care, Marshall. It's Frankenhooker. So with that, the main post. That's pretty cool.
So is she going to have that expression?
I think so. Yeah. That's what he's working on there. Have you seen Frankenhooker?
No.
All right, that's the show, everybody.
I've not seen Frankenweenie either, so
Say goodbye, Scott.
Is that time already?
Yeah. I know you're sad.
It's only 10:30. We could go another hour. I'm good. I'm wound up. Let's go. All right. Bye. Dick. Jason, do you even know how to play chess?
I do know how to play chess.
I was just curious.
Not well, but I do know how to play.
Okay, I was just curious. You seem
I
more
don't
like
know
a
how to do
checkers
that.
guy.
Those special moves and things. I don't know how to do.
You seem more like a checkers guy to me. That's
Like
why
no, I like chess a lot. I suck at it. I always play some of my students that are on the chess team. Like the knights, what is it? The King's Gambit, like that. There's those different moves you can do.
I guess I don't know the special moves.
Okay,
either.
yeah. There's actual like special things that I didn't like. There's moves you can do that I didn't know. Like
there's
you
a
can
thing called
swap
castling.
the place.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about. Castling. Yeah.
And I don't know what triggers that. And this won't be in the episode either. I don't know what triggers. I don't know what triggers that to be able to do it. Do you know what I'm talking about, Scott? Have you ever done that?
Your mom and I castle quite a bit.
All right.
Okay, all right.
That one's no good. You got to cut that out. Yeah.
Oh man.
I got to give him one an episode somewhere, Dan.
I know.